everyone, I'm Ian Mark One. Thanks for joining me. Our first story is about an artist, one of Montana's most significant modern artists of the last 50 years. His name is Ted Waddell, and his journey has taken him from the ranch to the city and back again. Ted Waddell has not always lived on a ranch, but there's no question that the rural lifestyle of cattle country plays a big role in his life and history. Even today, Waddell surveys the land around his new home in the ranch country near Manhattan, Montana, and finds fuel for his creative fire.
Well, I have to be where I am in order to do what I do. So, looking out the window to the east here, I've done a number of pieces about Ross Peak, and then we have this little Knox Creek here, and so when the cattle are here, I've done things that are related to that. It's just been grand, and over on this side of the property is the Horseshoe Hills, which are at a certain time of day they look like lemon meringue pie. There's a yellowish cast to the hills that's just something, and so I've been trying to paint that. And then my neighbor here has this beautiful clump of yellow willows that have fascinated me for a number of years. And every year I try to paint them, and so far I've been unsuccessful, but that won't stop me from trying it again and again. Also, we have around here red willows.
Theodore Waddell grew up in ranch country near Laurel, and while his artwork has covered plenty of creative ground, it's the images of land, sky, and livestock that lie closest to home.
The best work of any of us, any place, comes out of a person's experience. It isn't, it's something that's natural to them as a human being. It isn't, Rudy Audio says you can't take somebody else's magic and make art out of it, and that's certainly true. I mean, I love this place. I mean, I'm nuts about Montana, and I don't believe that I could be any other place and do the work that I'm doing.
Waddell's creative journey has covered 40 years, including time in New York and Michigan, and 8 years of teaching at the University of Montana. After leaving UM in the 1970s, he continued pursuing his art while running a cattle ranch near the community of Molt, near Billings. Over the years, he's tried his hand at a variety of styles and media. There were the highly abstract works of his youth, his experiments with metal and geometric figures. He's done large-scale sculptures.
In here right now is the model of a piece that was cast in bronze about a year or so ago.
Waddell also regularly exercises his sense of humor. There's his series of wildlife body bags that reflect both a playful side and an acute sensitivity to death. He's done a series of gun pieces using animal jawbones, bullets, custom-made display boxes, and additions that can form plays on words, like pearl-handled .45. Another Waddell signature is his series of wall-mounted trophies of both animals and people, like the Writer Trophy, which is mounted in his home studio.
You used to be able to leave a message on it, and the typewriter has worked. I think it works better now than it did when it was a typewriter. So, you know, everybody in the West are, in one way or another, they're all storytellers, and so there's a lot of great stories around that are sad and funny simultaneously if you listen for them.
If there's one body of work that's first among equals, though, it's Waddell's oil paintings on canvas. And when he works, he will use any tool that helps him realize his vision.
Here lately I've been using all kinds of different brushes. In the last 2 or 3 years, some of the brushes will become quite large, and they let you. Again, there's a different dynamic going on, and so then the brush strokes become different. Some people think this is really strange, but it's just a wonderful kind activity that happens, and I don't know if it happens any other way because of the size of the brush and what happens to it and what happens to the paint when you use this. These are calcimine brushes that normally are used to put wallpaper paste on. I just bought a new this is used for, I think, for troweling on cement.
Brushes, palette knives, industrial tools. Waddell uses them all. And the results are paintings that are almost topographic in their texture. These works are part of a retrospective exhibition put together by the Yellowstone Art Museum in Billings. It opened in Missoula in February after spending much of 2001 on the road. The works range from relatively small paintings to sky and landscapes that occupy a full wall. There are people, exotic wildlife from an African journey, and of course images of livestock from the ranch.
It's now probably close to 25 years that I've been looking at the landscape and trying to understand it. And the cattle and the horses and the sheep, these are is in this landscape.
Ted Waddell has been called one of the most significant artistic voices Montana has produced since 1950. Now in the 21st century, he's still at the peak of his game, and the desire to create still burns strong.
I don't want to be alive and not be able to do this. And I've been really lucky because, again, at the age of 17, that was my feeling, and that was 43 years ago. And I want to do it just as bad as I did then. I might get tired quicker, but my passion for it hasn't lessened any. Not a bit. If anything, it's increased.